Hello and welcome to Inside Admission at Wilmington College. I'm Danny Harp, Associate Director of Admission.
And I'm Jenny Towers, Senior Admission Counselor.
This past Saturday, we had the opportunity to celebrate our graduating class at our 145th commencement exercise here at Wilmington College. And we celebrate because so many of these students, most of these students are indeed going into the career that they've worked so hard to achieve, and for some, going on to graduate school, graduate work. Along with celebrating graduation is also saying goodbye for a short period of time to our underclassmen.
Danny, like you mentioned, last week was a wonderful closure to the past school year. But as you mentioned, campus feels a little bit different now that we're settling into the summer months. So, less foot traffic on campus. Residence halls are void of students. Most of our academic buildings on campus are void of students, but for good reason. As you mentioned, just as we had the opportunity to celebrate those graduating seniors, we're also now getting to allow those underclassmen a chance to explore perhaps internships that relate to their area of study, go back home and see family and spend times with friends or revisit an old job back at home. And of course, all in good time because we'll see them back on campus here in the coming months.
Exactly. And what we're planning, or what we're using this time to do, is to prepare to be back in class, in person, on campus, and experience that hands-on learning that Wilmington College is really known for as far as the very trademark and very essence of who we are. You know, this past year, we've done really well. Our students adhered to the protocols, the guidelines that were in place, all the while knowing how important it was to keep themselves safe, the campus safe, and the community in which we live. And we did well. We continue to be in class. We continue to be in person. We continue to have our students in front of the instructors, the faculty members, something that a lot of campuses, even now, as they're making decisions for the fall, are not able to make those decisions. Not so long ago, Wilmington College was ranked in the state in regard to getting our students the best return on their investment. And what Jenny and I really want to emphasize in today's episode is inviting you to trust us, to trust Wilmington College with the investment that you're going to make. Jenny, if you could, tell us a little bit about what you know in regard to just colleges in general, the decisions they're trying to make, maybe the situations they found themselves in this past year while we were in person. Tell us a little bit about that scenario.
Yeah, well, it's no secret that the last year and a half has been trying for a lot of reasons in a lot of different capacities. And higher ed did not go untouched in this global pandemic and in trying to find new solutions and new routines to the daily norm. And as you mentioned, we were fortunate. Wilmington College did a wonderful job of keeping our students on campus, giving them in-person experiences, hands-on experiences like we promised, our athletes an opportunity to compete throughout the entire school year, our student teachers and other individuals to go out into those actual off-campus experiences. And we were very fortunate to be able to do that.
Well, and even right down to our visits, as far as allowing visitors to come to our campus, for the most part, we were able to make that happen.
Exactly. With a few minor tweaks and changes, we were able to provide students and prospective students in the future the opportunity to really see Wilmington College and who we are and the very essence of what we offer and promise our students on a daily basis.
Yes.
As you mentioned, a lot went into that decision process in making sure that we could stay face-to-face all year. And there were times throughout the year where we had to make adjustments as an institution. Our office had to make adjustments as to how we managed grouped visits, how we managed open houses, how we managed individual visits. And I feel very fortunate that we had this year to do a little bit of trial and error to ensure that this coming school year for our returning students, for our new students on campus, should hopefully go on without a hitch.
Exactly. And as you mentioned, even before we started to roll the tape today, this coming fall will be our second time through as far as us being in person. We've learned a lot, as you've mentioned. While a lot of schools and colleges, even right now as we speak, as we head towards the fall, have still not been able to make that decision because they don't know for their college and institution what that can look like or what it should like. And we've already made a very public announcement that we are taking steps forward this fall to be as normal as possible. And the one thing I want to emphasize again is as we have been able to talk to students this past school year, and we've asked them about the protocols, the guidelines, COVID in general, the experience. For the most part, students have shared with us that, yeah, it was different, something that was certainly unexpected, but they certainly felt that they got the return on the investment, and not just academically, but they've shared with us, our Wilmington College students have shared, that they were still able to connect with one another. They were still able to participate in clubs, organizations. Don't get me wrong, it looked very different, but nonetheless, those experiences were there. While all along, we were hearing stories of students who had made a huge investment in a college or a university who were sitting in a room looking at four walls, taking a class online. And that is certainly not what we want for our Wilmington College students.
Not at all. We take pride, the college takes pride in who we are as an institution, the experience we want to afford our students, and to not be able to provide that experience would be detrimental to who we are. I think Wilmington College as a whole, how we've structured our educational experience really bode well for us throughout this pandemic. I mean, we've got a beautiful green campus, a lot of outdoor space. We've always acknowledged and saw the benefit in small class sizes. And so luckily for us, as you mentioned, it was a few minor tweaks and changes, but it really allowed our students to get the experience that they were hoping for.
Yes.
And that they have invested in.
Absolutely. And if you are indeed planning to be here this fall, to be a part of that experience, or if you are still contemplating that decision to be a part of our Wilmington College family, and if you still have questions, we encourage you to contact your admission counselor or the admission office. We want you to have the information you need to make a good decision, a decision that you and your family are going to be comfortable with, especially given the circumstances that we're dealing with in regard to COVID. But again, as we have publicly announced, and as Jenny and I personally can assure you, as we press forward to this fall, we're looking at getting things back to normal as much as possible and in the safest way possible for everyone involved. Jenny, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. And thank you. And we'll look forward to seeing you next week for another episode of Inside Admission at Wilmington College.